the dawn of the second cycle, when the stars were young and the cosmos still whispered its secrets, two civilizations rose to meet the light of creation, the Gwei and the Alaron. This is the story of a universe divided, of light and shadow, of sacrifice and destiny. This is the saga of Baaana Massik. On the radiant planet of Proxima, the Alaron flourished under the twin suns, their civilization a beacon of light and justice. Two great houses shaped their world. The House of Parthenax, towering giants who saw life as an eternal struggle between good and evil. And the House of Alaron, human-like beings who wrestled with the meaning of existence. The Alarai, delicate and introspective, were sacred to the Parnaxians, who vowed to protect them as if guarding the very soul of the universe. The Parnaxians, mighty and warlike, honed their skills in battle, yet never turned their strength against their smaller kin. To them, the Alarai were a mystery, a purpose yet to be revealed, a spark of divinity meant to endure. Among the Alarai, one shone brightest, Leone, empress of her people, a beacon of wisdom and grace. And among the Parnaxians stood Baaana Massik, their indomitable leader, whose heart burned with duty and whose strength could move mountains. The Oracle, an Illyri gifted with near-magical intellect, had long foretold a union that would change the fate of the cosmos. A child, born of Parthenax and Alaron, would rise as the strongest being in the universe, a savior, or perhaps a harbinger. When Leone and Baaana joined in love, defying the divide between their houses, the prophecy began to unfold. Their child, a fusion of giant's might and human spirit, was destined to stand at the heart of creation's final hour. But light casts shadows, and from the void came the Gwei. No one knew their origin. Some whispered they were spawned by a black hole, minions of a dark entity hungering to devour all light. Gifted with intellect beyond comprehension and strength to rival the stars, the Gwei descended upon Proxima in diamond-shaped ships, vast as mountains, piercing the skies like daggers of obsidian. Destruction reigned upon Proxima. Villages crumbled, cities burned, and the air grew thick with ash. The Gwei, towering lizard-like humanoids with eyes like burning coals, carved a path of ruin. At their helm was Sobek, Lord of the Gwei, a being of cold malice, whose gaze could shatter wills. He sought one thing, the child of prophecy, the one born of Leone and Baaana, whose power could tip the balance of the universe. As the Gwei besieged the sacred fortress temple of Proxima, where the houses of Parthenax and Alaron stood united, hope dwindled. The high priests, their faces etched with desperation, turned to Baaana Massik. They spoke of the gift of Proxima, a sacred rite that could turn the tide. But this gift was no blessing. It was a curse. The gift was immortality, a life unending for Baaana, the strength to stand as the final defender of all existence. But the cost was unbearable. He would watch everything he loved, Leone, their child, their people, turn to ash. He would endure, alone, through eons, waiting for a moment foretold only in whispers. The day he would face the darkness as the universe's last hope. Baaana stood before the altar, his massive frame trembling, not with fear, but with the weight of love and loss. Leone, her eyes filled with both pride and sorrow, clasped his hand. "For our child," she whispered. "For the universe." The priests chanted, and the air shimmered with ancient power. The gift was given. Baaana Massik became more than a man, more than a giant, a sentinel bound to eternity. The battle raged. The Gwei breached the temple, their roars shaking the heavens. Sobek, relentless, closed in on the child. But Baaana, now imbued with the gift, stood as a colossus. His blades sang, His voice roared defiance, and for a moment the light of Proxima held against the shadow. Yet the Gwei were too many, their power too vast. The temple fell. Leone, shielding their child, was lost to the flames. Baaana Massik stood amidst the ruins, his heart a wound that would never heal. The child was gone, hidden by the last of the priests in a desperate act to defy Sobek. The Gwei retreated, their prize eluding them, but Proxima was no more. And Baaana, cursed with immortality, began his endless vigil. Through centuries, through millennia, he waited in the ruin of ash and flame, a giant among ruins, waiting for the day the prophecy would call him to rise. The universe turns, and the shadow of the Gwei grows long. Somewhere, the child of prophecy lives, a spark of light in the gathering dark. And Baaana Massik, the eternal guardian, watches, his strength unbroken, his sorrow unending. He waits for the final battle, when he will stand as the defender of all that is, against all that seeks to consume it. This is not the end of his story, but merely the beginning.